Hey, I'm Tazik with AlbionTV, and joining me for a developer interview is Misha from Sandbox Interactive. You might know him better as Retroman. How's everything going with you?
I'm pretty fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for this interview. There's a lot to discuss with someone who's been here for so long. How long have you worked at Sandbox?
Almost 10 years now. It's close to 10 years, not quite, but yeah, it has been a very, very long time. And in the early days, we were quite a small company in comparison to now. So we have grown quite a lot, and it's really been nice to see that growth over time.
What did you start on? What did you start working on at Albion?
So my first big task, once I got a bit introduced to the game, it had like the first few months to learn everything. So the first big task was for the preparation of the very first beta to rebalance all the items and abilities in the game and make it more focused on PvP, the whole balance. And for that, first, the idea was to, instead of looking more onto traditional MMO games like World of Warcraft and the likes, we were more looking towards MOBA games and League of Legends and Dota and Heroes of the Storm and how they develop abilities, because I think they're a perfect match for this kind of game. They have the same camera perspective and they have a lot of outplay potential, and that really lands well into PvP, right? It is pretty frustrating if the PvP just turns out to be an DPS race. Oh, I have the better rotation, so I win, haha. That's not very engaging. So like, okay, maybe we can get some of this like outplay potential that we have in MOBA games and these more interesting skills that you have to react to your opponent to win into an MMO. Of course, we have to still mix in some MMO elements, and we are not a complete MOBA, right? We have to make sure that it fits our game vision, but there's a lot we could learn from them. In the early days, we had to be a bit more careful in what we can get away with technically, because we had to have long stand times and not so many skill shots, and so for performance reasons for the servers, right? And also we have developed everything to expect potentially a super high ping, right? We don't know how well internet connections were for everyone, because the challenge of doing a game like this with where you can have 300 people in one cluster is really tremendous, because the traffic, the network traffic just exponentially grows with every player you add to the mix. So I'm very happy where we are now with that, how far we have come. And it's also a pretty unique game to work on, right? This mix of MOBA combat and more action-oriented combat, and a traditional MMO in a sandbox world that is really a cool thing to work on and be part of.
Combat system has evolved a ton, right? From when you first started to now. I mean, you talked about it, removing the stand times, removing a lot of the delays between casting and ability.
Yeah.
It's so much more fluid now. A lot of that had to do with just network. You was built in for that reason.
Of course, we want the gameplay to be fluid and cool as possible, and Code wants the game to be stable and working well, which is very important, right? And then we always have to make it, but if we can get it a bit more like this, can we get spell effect areas where we have hit detection on the ground that moves like a skill shot, and then okay, we can do it like this, but we can't overuse it. And we have to be careful with timings and how many times, and over the time that we have developed the game, we have been going into more of this action combat direction. Of course, we always have to make sure that we don't overdo it.
It's interesting. And I mean, you talk a lot about balance. The community definitely knows you more for being a face in the balance department and really being the whole game, you know, all the different content types, balancing all of it. Has the team grown any since you started? Anyone here to help you?
Quite recently, we got Nick into the team, which the community you guys might know as Lucrative. He was a famous 5v5 player. He won the CSC twice.
Two-time Crystal League Championship winner. And it was important to you that you had someone on the team who really knew his stuff, who knew the combat systems, who knew all the abilities, you know, the depth of the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. We had got a lot of applications, I can tell you that.
I can imagine.
And we got a lot of good applications also from other companies, but I really valued people who had a lot of experience in Albion, because I felt like, okay, if someone really knows the game well, it will be way easier to onboard him. He will just know his stuff about the game. He knows all the rules and all these special things we need, the conditions, all the different content types. There's a lot of things that work different in Albion than what you would expect from another game. And that's why we ended with Nick.
Yeah. He seems like a great guy. There's going to be a separate interview with Nick for more balance stuff. So now that you have Nick on the team, now that you have some help in the balance, you're not balancing all the content alone. I know one of the more recent features you worked on was the journal, a very big update to Albion, personal favorite edition in quite some time. What was the inspiration for adding a journal and achievement type completionist goal system in Albion?
It has a couple of goals, but the first main goal to start with was we wanted a tool that is good at teaching new players what Albion has to offer. There's so many features that are kind of hard to understand and find if you're new. That was a big role. And also give you a bit of tangible, easy to reach goals early on. And I also like that the journal, it starts without showing you much of the missions to not overwhelm new players. It's the main idea. And then it starts showing you more and more stuff after a while. And it then says, hey, maybe try going into a red zone. And here you get something. And then quickly we want you to explore more of the game, go a bit out of your comfort zone. And if you're already a mid-core player or you have already played a bit, then also it gives you like a bit of goals to go into different activities and see, okay, maybe I can, I don't know, I haven't played Corrupted Dungeons maybe for now. And then I go try a bit and see, oh yeah, that feature is actually also fun and have a reason to progress there. And another thing we want to achieve is give you cool vanity items that you can only get through gameplay and that are not tradable or purchasable and that they really mean something.
So you talked a lot about the different groups the journal affects. Just one personal note for veterans, I'm an achievement hunter myself. I want to be able to see more of the tasks, unlike new players where it's really great for them to not. Any ideas on maybe changing it so I can know what tasks are in the game without going outside the game?
Fair point, I totally agree. We built that first with the intention for new players, but actually we are already changing it for the next updates that the more you play in the journal, the more missions it will reveal automatically. So if you have made like 60% progress in PB, it will reveal most missions, so you don't have to Google all the time what all the later missions are. We did that first mostly to protect the new players, but that will be changed in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're hitting every area of the game. You're really like everywhere on Albion. It seems like a full-time job.
It is. It's also very rewarding to see that the thing you have been working on, that so many players enjoyed and played, and you see what you do have an impact with your work. And it's also really satisfying to see how much we have grown as a company too, but also our game, right? We started very small, now we're getting bigger and bigger. And I also think we have the potential to grow even more and make the game even better in the years to come. So I'm definitely happy with the amount of time I spent on my work.
But I think we're gonna end this one here. AlbionTV has been interviewing a ton of the developers. There's other developer interviews coming if they're not already up now. So definitely check those out. We're gonna wrap this one up. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Have a great time.